One. Cool. How are we doing?
Oh, doing good. It's getting cold out here, real chilly. I'm not a man that likes the cold. Funny enough, I was thinking to myself yesterday, I was like, this is going to be the last winter that I'm forced to stay in a cold place. I remember I was watching back your live stream and that was part of the inspiration you're talking about. Yeah, it's like it's the beginning of winter. I'm in Bangkok, it's sunny, it's warm. I created this reality. And I was watching that thinking, wow, so true. Like I've been so close to that point where I had the remote job, I had the good income, but I just wasn't being smart with my money, smart with my decisions. If I was smarter back then, I would have put money away. I would have downgraded apartments to save even more. That way I could have been living that lifestyle already. So but it's all right. It's nice. It's nice that I got a friend like you who can flaunt it in front of me like that because that just fires me up and makes me go, yeah, I could do that. I could be living that lifestyle too. So yeah, I committed to myself. This is the last winter that I'll have to spend in San Francisco. By this time next winter, I mean, ideally a lot before, but yeah, come next winter, I won't be forced to stay in a cold city when it's raining and it gets dark early and I can't approach. Yeah. And also, what's interesting, geez, I know I'm not even doing a proper intro, but also what's interesting is I noticed that because it's getting dark and cold, etc., I'm actually not able to approach as much. And so, yeah, it's funny that I cut off things at this time of the year, but as far as my previous relationship, but I'm really glad that I did it because I could have done it in the summer when it would have been easier and I could have gone out at any time at 7 p.m. But I did it in the winter when it's harder, when it's colder. And so yeah, it feels fun jumping back into the fire again. So yeah, that's how I've been. How have you been, Christian?
Yeah, I've been good actually. Yeah, thanks for asking. Um, that feels weird answering that question. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, as you were speaking, I was thinking in terms of the money side of things. It's not what you make; it's what you keep. So it's like if you're smart with your money and you position yourself in the right environment where your money goes further, then you just live a better lifestyle. It's like if you're making 100 grand a year, but you're living in London, then great, you're making 100 grand a year. But if you're making 100 grand a year and you're living in Brazil or Malaysia or Bangkok, then you're effectively a millionaire in these places. So it's not always what you make; it's what you're able to keep. And I think once you've got a lifestyle that allows you to do your job from anywhere, then you can position yourself in the environment, which I'm not materialistic. I don't care about watches or cars or that sort of thing. So it makes my life a lot easier because I don't need a lot. But I think in terms of where you position yourself, that's so important. And yeah, I remember spending time in Europe in the winters, whether I was in the UK, and yeah, there's just something depressing about it gets dark at like 3:30 p.m. You don't feel the most motivated to do that much, but I'm happy that I had those experiences in my life early on because it demonstrated to me what I didn't want to have. I think in those moments, it's either going to make you or it's going to break you. It's like, oh, it's so depressing. Like, what am I going to do in my life? Oh, well, this is me for the next 40 years. Or you can actually use that as your fuel. And like you don't want to have another winter where you're not in a place that inspires you. So, yeah, I think, use your fuel wherever you can get it from.
Yeah, part of what inspired me too is our trip to Cyprus because I remember as I was calling my parents when we were out in Cyprus, they were telling me just how rainy it was, and we were in the middle of the rainy season in San Francisco, and you and I were enjoying the sunshine day in and day out. It's gorgeous out there in January 2023. So yeah, even just experiencing something like that, where I had the remote lifestyle, I was able to travel to a new country, and I was able to enjoy sunshine while the people back home were suffering in the rain. I was just thinking, this is so possible. Yeah, this is so possible, and it was so fun. It was so productive, and it made me enjoy that portion of life a lot better than if I was in the rain. So yeah, definitely top priority right now. Yeah, I think I just needed to refocus my mental energy somewhere, and I think before it was just kind of I was just doing good enough that the channel was doing just good enough. I was in the gym just enough, and then I was making just enough money that it didn't suck nearly as bad. And then you imagine I got a girlfriend. It's a lot easier to just clock off of work and go run to her versus nowadays it's like I clock out of work and I'm just staring at like a very cold, lonely night, and I'm like, all right, instead of sitting here, I'm just gonna put in some work. Yeah, I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm gonna put in some job applications, and it's almost like I had to. At this point in my life, I still had to force myself into that position to get things done. So, whatever it takes, as long as I get it done. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw on your channel you made a video which was like you documented your first, I think it was the first 20 days when we were in Warsaw together. Yeah, I really liked that video. I thought it was really cool, like from a place of nostalgia to actually watch back. So I remember coaching you in Warsaw, and every day I would walk over the bridge to go to my place, and then I would usually send you a message, be like, "Hey, get that video diary created." Because I was thinking, because I know we spoke about during that month together, we spoke about the possibility of you putting a channel together, making content, and I was like, this would be useful if you documented it because this could be the content one day. And then I saw you posted that video where you put the clips like sequentially, like one after the other. And it was really nostalgic to me to actually watch those back. I was like, fucking hell, I was there. So yeah, what was the thought process behind that?
Yeah, that was so nostalgic, man. I remember that time in Warsaw. Well, funny enough, the thought was I was just watching a video of mine, and I happened to have included one of those clips, like the first ever clip. And so I thought, oh, wait, I still have like 20, 30 videos that I've never put together, sitting in my hard drive. And so I went and I opened it up, and sure enough, all 20 were right there. I called them post game interviews. Yeah. And so I clicked through them. I watched a few. I was like, no, these are still pretty good. And I put them together unedited. So the thought process though was, I imagine that watching that is somewhat valuable to a guy that's in a similar position. Funny enough, when I watched that back, I was like, geez, the gap isn't even that far. Like mentally where I was back then to where I am today, it's not too much has changed. Don't get me wrong, there's been a lot of reinforcement and self-confidence growth, etc. But as far as like sales mentality, I look back on those clips and I was talking about like, yeah, I'm not using the number of contacts I get as my metric of success. What I'm using as my metric is how many times I get over my fear. And I'm looking back and I was like, even back then, I completely understood it. Like that is exactly the mentality that it takes. Yeah. So it's just great to see that yeah, it's just if you have the foundational understanding of what it takes, i.e. getting over your fear as many times as it takes and not asking how many times does it take. That's basically it. If you have that foundation, then you will go far. And I can see it in myself when I look back even on day 0, and I'm already talking about I expect to get rejected. I expect the girls to walk past me. It's like I'll look in my comment section these days and guys are asking me how many girls will reject me before I get my first girlfriend. So now it's very clear to me that these guys simply have the wrong mentality. And maybe back then, before coming back across these clips, I'd kind of thought, oh, I was probably somewhat in their position back then. Oh, I probably was talking the same back then. But now I'm seeing, no, not at all. I already understood what it takes. Yeah, I already knew what questions not to ask you, and so yeah. But I hope that it's valuable for guys that have never seen that side of me, because I imagine they come across my channel these days. All they see is date breakdowns and and how to get better with girls, and they think that I've always been this way. And you know better than anybody, literally better than anybody on the earth. You know that that is not the case. I came to you as a scared mess of a little boy, and yeah, you helped me build the skills. So hopefully they can see that I'm just like them, that it's going to take a lot of courage to build this skill, that it's not going to be easy. Yeah, day over day, I was making that diary. And each day, pretty much, I was talking about something that scared me that I did anyways. Yeah, at one point, I was talking about I walked over to a pair of girls. Then it was I walked over to a big group of girls. One of the days, I said I walked over to two girls and a guy. Yeah, and it's like most every day, I was doing something new, not just approaching the girl, but like approaching the girl and then adding some extra difficulty to it, just to make it so that when I came back to San Francisco, I can approach the one isolated girl in with my eyes closed in my sleep. So, but yeah, that was the thought process. I'm glad you came across that. I was hoping you saw that.
Oh, I saw it. You'll start. You might see it pop up on my channel at some point in the not so distant future as well. Whenever I see these videos, I'm like, huh, I wonder how I can use this. So yeah, it's beautiful for me because it means like we've got you making videos, Joseph making videos, Jazz is making videos. There's a couple more guys in the Entourage who I think are getting the appetite to start making videos, and it's cool. Like it's massively beneficial for me, not just because I can do these live streams, but it's like it just shows people what's possible. It's like you get the skill, then you go off, you do your own thing. You know, you create your own brand, you create your own videos, you tell your own stories, and I think that's when you realize you're doing something much bigger than yourself. You know, it's like if I can give somebody a skill and then you can pass on the skill, it just means the skill will continue to live. And I think that's when you know you're onto something special. It's when you can teach somebody something and then they can teach people things. And yeah, like everybody resonates with different people. So I think that's cool. I think what was really useful in Warsaw as well was when we did those videos together in public. You know, when we used to just stick the tripod down in the middle of the old town and we just used to talk and there was loads of people around us. I don't think I actually realized how much of an impact that probably had on you overall, but I think that was useful. Maybe just as useful as doing the approaches was doing the, we'll just call them social freedom exercises, because you didn't even have a choice in the end. I just put the tripod down. I was like, right, we're going to do a video. And then, no, actually, no, I did ask you. The first time we did it, I was like, yeah, would you mind, like, you know, coming on camera and talking about it? And instantly you were just like, yeah, I'll do that. And that's like, that sort of made the trip as well, because we used to start off our days talking to the camera in the old town. Yeah, I don't know how you felt about that, but I enjoyed
Yeah,
it.
mate. By video number 2, I was telling you to fucking press record. I remember I was going I was
That's
going,
right.
just click the red button, mate. You're like, you think I don't know how to record or something like that. Oh no, those are great. No, I mean, I was putting on the masculine shell ego. Oh, press record, Christian, just press record. In reality, I was absolutely breaking it every time you pulled that tripod out. I was pissing my pants. I was like, oh no, we're gonna
Dude, it's a
post them near
Sunday. Take
this.
a day off.
Yeah, I was like, oh no, we're gonna post it near the statue now. Now we're gonna start talking about the most fuckable man, and every Polish kid is gonna turn their head and look at us. Like I was absolutely freaking it. But no, we got those videos done. And funny enough, right before you said it, I was actually thinking the same thing, that those exercises were just as useful to me as walking over to the girl. I mean, I think if you really broke it down, probably not. Like, I probably could have gotten the skill without the exercises, but there's something about like my boldness. It changed that self-confidence level for me, because I think I think what I'm learning as I look back on our time in Warsaw, most of the benefits that I got were doing a bunch of rash actions in public and then not having any repercussions. I think that was the main thing. Was our day zero, we walked around Poland and went to find me a gym and went to find a mall in case it rained, but we were just talking loudly. Then I went and did my first ever approaches. You taught me how to be louder in conversation so that people could hear me. You're like, yeah, that's the point, guy. You want people to hear you. It makes it more bold. And then to do these social freedom videos with you, where we're just talking about how to become your most fuckable self in 5 easy steps. And then it's just like we're just being loud and attracting the most attention, and the dancing panda starts dancing over to us and stuff. And yeah, I think it was just as beneficial because it just made me realize I can talk about these topics that I would have, before meeting you, I would watch your videos only with my AirPods in. If I was in public and I didn't have AirPods, I would be listening on like 2 volume. So I'm like, I don't want people to think I'm listening to how to become the most fuckable man. And then all of a sudden, like, I'm next to you, I'm making the video with you, and it's like, well, somebody's got to tell these guys, somebody's got to be loud and be the example. And so I just stood up with you and I started talking on camera. But I was scared because once again, I thought somebody was going to walk over and say, "What are you guys doing?" In reality, the most that happened was like other people were grateful that somebody was taking up the spotlight and not them. So they would kind of gather around. They would leave. Be sure to leave like a 6 to 10 foot gap so as to not get called out by us and not have to get ushered into the video because they're too scared. But they would get just close enough to where they could make it very clear that they were staring at us and like they wanted us to see them off camera. And then when we would put our attention on them, then they'd look away very quickly, or they'd give us more space. And so, yeah, it really just confirmed kind of that Fight Club thing where it's like you ask somebody to fight, they don't fight. So it's like you plant your flag, you start recording. It's like everybody is happy to troll you. They're happy to try to distract you until you invite them into the spotlight. Yeah, you invite them to fight, they can't fight. They won't stand in the video frame with you. So it just helped me realize like just how different you and I really were. And I don't mean to say that very arrogantly, but yeah, I was just looking around at the rest of San Francisco, and then when we were out there, the rest of Poland, and I was going, yeah, we're kind of the guys. We're the guys that go after what we want. We're the guys that are not afraid to make things happen, not afraid to plant the camera and stand in front of it and talk loudly. And so none of these people are the guys. Yeah, they're just the ones that stand around and film us filming ourselves. So I got so much out of those videos that we did together, and I think that that is probably like that was probably the main catalyst for why I can come back to San Francisco and do things on my own. I think if I it just didn't done the immersion, not the videos, then I would have been a lot more slow to get started on my own. But once I realized I could just talk loudly about these brash topics, then yeah, I was able to come back and replicate the results very quickly.
Yeah, I love piecing everything together. I like doing the approaches, I like doing the videos, I like bringing guys into the videos because I think like there's guys who watch these videos and they like that idea as well. Like they like the idea of like standing beside us, making videos, creating content online, building a personal brand. So I don't know. I think it's cool what we're actually inviting guys into. It's not just hey, come along and learn some approaches. Yeah, cool, we'll do that. But it's like how much fun can we have learning the skill? Like how can we make this fun? How can we make it enjoyable? I don't know. I think like there's a lot of service providers, and maybe you'll go to them and you'll walk around the streets with them for 5 hours a day, and it's very serious, it's very logical, it's all like technicalities. Me, it's like I like to stick a camera down, like just laugh and joke, and you'll learn, you'll make progress without even realizing it. But then you realize it's all connected anyway. Like your ability to speak loud to a camera, to record yourself, to go over an approach, it's just continuing to stack that momentum on the video that you uploaded, the 20 diary entries. You spoke about the mentality that went into those approaches. Maybe it would be useful just for the guys who are watching. Like maybe there's a guy who's not done his first, let's just say 20 approaches yet, just as a because I sometimes like there's guys and they're like their ambitions are actually quite humble. It's like, they might not actually want to be living international lifestyle. They might not want the rock star confidence. They might just want to go from like a 0 to a 1 and they would be happy with that. So like the mentality that goes into doing those first 20 approaches, apart from just do it, do you think there are any powerful pieces of advice you could give to those guys? Maybe if they are trying to do it on their own at the moment, maybe some practical things that they can consider when it comes to going from a 0 to a 1.
Yeah, I'd say even if your ambitions are humble, you should just aim a lot higher because then you'll hit your goal by default. That's almost what I did. Yeah, I pretty much wanted a better dating life. I didn't know exactly what that would look like, and so I just showed up and I booked 30 days with you and I went hard for 30 days. And so by the time I got back to San Francisco, I was more than equipped to get a girlfriend, for example. And I was able to get a lot of dates really quickly because of that. And that's why I say I kind of over learned the skill. It's like I learned it to a point where it wasn't even necessary. I could have gotten similar results without 30 days with you, but I just wanted to get absurdly good so that I could live this lifestyle, that rock star lifestyle that we talked about. But yeah, if the ambitions are a bit humbler, then I mean, first of all, I would look at our time together, and I was listening into those diary entries, and I was going, no, it sounds like I was doing 15 to 20 a day. Each of those videos I did, I said, oh yeah, I did about 15 today, I did about 18 today, and I'm going, if guys are saying I need to do my first 20 in the next 3 weeks, like, come on, you got to put in more work there. So I would say if it doesn't really matter what your end goal is, I think like in general, you can just build. You want to just build this skill set to a decent enough degree to where you can yield results. And I don't think that it's like a. I don't think it's a one size fits all when it comes to like. All right, I just want a girlfriend, so I'm going to just need to do 20 approaches to get my girlfriend. Whereas this guy wants the rock star dating life, he needs to do 1,000. It's like, yeah, that might be true to some extent. Some guys might have that as their experience, but I think pretty much everybody's going to have to go through the same thing. And you talk about it all the time. You need at least 100 before you even feel like you know what you're doing. Yeah, it's like you do 20 and you're still going to feel awkward. You're still going to feel like you don't know what to say. You're still going to get to the point where you want to close and you're going to go, "Oh, what do I say to the girl? Can I have your number now? Yeah, is this the time where I ask for your number?" It's like this is all learned through practicing it and being in there. I mean, shit, I didn't learn how to properly ask for the girl's number until like week 4 with you. Yeah, and when we started finally focusing on that, but it's like I was already getting dates without that. So that's what I mean is like you don't need to be perfect and solid in every area in order to get the date. But I imagine most guys want to be just really capable in this area before before trying to forget the skill, for example. But yeah, to somebody who has smaller ambitions, which honestly I imagine is most guys. I think most guys that are on dating apps, most guys that are out at nightclubs, most guys just want a girl to do life with, like you say. And I think that that's a very noble ambition. Yeah, I think that that's something that we should all be going after. At the very least, is one girl to do life with. Yeah, there's no reason for you to be completely alone 24/7. And so, I would just say if your ambitions are smaller, still aim higher. Still aim as high as the guy that wants the crazy rock star dating life, because at the very least, you will have learned just enough to get yourself your first ever girlfriend, for example. But I mean, I think like for example if a guy is saying, "Yeah, I just want to get a girlfriend, so let me just do 1/20th of what Efrem did or what Kristian did," then I don't think that guy's ever going to find success and ever going to be able to get his result. He's looking at it as like, well, they took this skill set from 0 to 100. I just want to go from 0 to 1. That means I'm going to do 1/100th of the approaches. I'm going to do 1/100th of the content consumption, 1/100th of the analysis after my session, and I don't think that's going to translate to results at all.
Yeah, it's the same with making money. I think you owe it to the people that you love to become wealthy, and it's the same with the skill. It's like you owe it to your future relationships to get obnoxiously good at this skill, because then when you've actually got the skill to a solid level, it means all of your future relationships are going to be based from a place of genuine abundance, where it's like, out of all the options available, I want you, as opposed to I just want someone. So I think if a guy is trying to shortcut the process, he's going to get shortcutted results. It's like because you didn't push yourself when you needed to, the reality that you've now got is a reflection of the actions you didn't take. So I think those first 100, they are just batting practice. But and I think we spoke about in a previous call that we had, it's the time period you're able to get those in. Like you don't want to be spacing them out over the next 4 years. Like ideally, just get those 100 done ASAP. Book a week off work if you have to. Why not? Just book a week off work. Aim to do 20 every single day for 5 days. Then you've got your weekend spare where maybe you can just do 50 a day. Go to a just go on holiday. Just take a week off. Go to some random city where you don't know anybody and just have your own immersion. If you can't afford coaching or you don't like us for whatever reason and you think we're just a bunch of bozos, then just book a week off work. Just go to some random place and then just put the reps in and just have that as like a burn the boats. Then you've got the financial accountability as well. But like don't book the week off, go to fucking Shenzhen in China, and then not do any approaches and get a job in a sweat factory. Then that would be the worst, the worst case scenario. And then maybe I could make a piece of content about it. This is what happens when you don't take action. And then the opening scene is just like a really sad Western looking man who's in like a Primark sweatshop, just wondering where things went wrong for him. But yeah, just you can just book a week off work. Do you know what I mean? Book 7 days. You could even just book 3 days and have like a mini, give yourself a mini boot camp. If you're living in London right now, book a 3 day excursion to, I don't know, somewhere in Bulgaria and just give yourself some incentive to just get them done because you will feel like a new man. Even after doing the first 10, you'll feel different. But I think once you've got past that 100, you are never the same again. But I think it's so important that you do it within a condensed time period. Otherwise, you can forget what you've learned. Oh, like one approach here, don't approach again for another 4 weeks. Then look at plane tickets to Shenzhen. Then go to Shenzhen. Don't approach. So I think yeah, the faster you can get those done, the better.
Yeah, agreed. It's funny the consistency almost acts as an exponent because if you take gaps, weeks, even days at a time in between approaching, Like, for example, when I went out to Poland with Christian, I was unemployed. It was actually the perfect scenario. I had stacked up a decent, I think 30, 40,000 in the bank at that point. And so I had, a year, 2, 3 years of runway if I really wanted to stay unemployed. And so when I reached out to Christian, I was actively looking for programming jobs. But I told him, I was like, I kind of want to just dedicate a month to this. I don't really want my attention to be split between programming during the day or during the night. And then kind of like Cyprus. Cyprus was really difficult, like would have been really difficult if I was learning the skill, because at night I was just grinding away at programming, and then I'd wake up tired, and then I'd go meet up with Christian around what 12, 1 p.m. Actually, we'd get together a lot earlier than that. We'd spend the day together. So it's like, if I was doing that in Poland, it just would have been overwhelming. But thankfully, I'd already had the skill built in Cyprus. But that's what I mean. I took 4 weeks off of, I didn't have a job. So it was my entire focus was cold approach for 4 weeks. And look at the like that's what we're talking about. You spend 4 weeks learning the skill set and you're done. Versus guys spend 2, 3 years learning the skill set, doing just about the same number of approaches I did in 4 weeks, but they're spreading it out over 2 years. And they're getting less of a result because it's not as concentrated and they're not as focused. Yeah. And that's why I say that the consistency acts as the exponent. You spread it out over the course of 2 years and you're not getting that same momentum behind you that's kind of pushing you into the next approach and the next approach and the next approach. It's like half of what we were doing was building momentum and then riding off that momentum. That's why week 4, it was just date after date after date after date after. Remember the last video we recorded, I was like, yeah, I have 3 dates lined up today. The best part is I wasn't even kidding. I wonder how many guys like rewatch that and go, yeah, fuck this guy, 3 dates. Like, I genuinely had 3 different girls that I went and I saw that day. Yeah, and it was just insane. It took one girl to this little daytime bar, the other girl to this little hip venue with ramen and shit and ice cream. It's crazy that could even happen. And but yeah, that's all as a result of the consistency and the momentum that I was building. Because you imagine you walk over to 20 girls a day for 14, 21 days, you're gonna have some leads. Yeah, you're gonna find some girls that like you. That's how you generate a 3 date kind of a day. Is you're just continuing to go in and go in and go in and go in. I'm sure plenty of girls that I already went on dates with or that I already walked up to saw me walking over to other girls. But that's why we recommend just flying to a new city. Yeah, it's like nobody from Poland knows me in San Francisco. So what's great is like to the people in San Francisco, I was just this guy that didn't really get girls for most of my life. And then I flew to Poland, and then I came back, and then all of a sudden I was just getting hella dates. Yeah, like that's kind of what my roommate went through. So I have to remember that he couldn't have been too happy, because when I left for Poland, I was in the same position as him, where we were just chilling at home, had not much of a social life. We were both swiping on apps, just swapping Tinder ideas, and he would ask me, "Efrem, dude, what's your bio looking like?" When he finally saw I had a girl come by, he's going, "Let me see your bio, dude. I gotta I gotta copy the bio." And then I flew to Poland. I even told him what I was doing. Hey, yeah, dude. I just called it day game at the time. I didn't know what to say. I was like, yeah, dude, I'm gonna go learn how to day game. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna fly to Poland. I'm gonna learn how to walk over to girls. He's like, dude, you're crazy. What are you talking about? Like, this sounds insane. And I go, then started getting worried. I thought he was gonna tell everybody, tell all my friends. And so I started going, yeah, no, falling back into that complacency where I go, yeah, we'll see. I don't know if I'm actually going to do it or if I'm going to chicken out, but yeah, hopefully I'll be better at talking to girls. In the back of my head, I was going, please, please let me get so good so I could just fucking show it to this guy and be like, yeah, fuck you. And so, yeah, I fly to Poland. I get really good. Yeah, funny enough, he's reaching out to me. It's funny, that crabs in a bucket mentality, right? It's like we didn't even like each other that much. All of a sudden, I'm in Poland learning how to walk over to girls, and he's checking in on me every 2 days. How is it, roommate? Oh, have you walked up to girls yet? Oh, no way, you have? Oh, it wasn't fake? And then I show back up to San Francisco, basically just ghosted the guy, even though I lived right next to him. Yeah, basically just stopped talking to him, stopped hanging out with him. I just went out and did my approaches. I was going on dates and stuff. Yeah, to the point where every now and then in passing in the hallway, he would just be like, "Another one? Oh wow, you got another date? Wow, another girl?" And I'm just going, in my head, I'm thinking, "Yeah, fuck you, man." Funny enough, this is probably the best part of this story is I was supposed to learn how to cold approach with this guy. It's just we didn't know it was cold approach yet. We didn't know it was called cold approach. So I remember earlier into this lease term, this had to be 6 months before I came across Christian's content. he and I had the grand idea while watching this guy Pootie P on YouTube, this prankster, to grab a camera, head to our local Target near a college, and start recording ourselves walking up to girls as a prank. Yeah, so this was biologically, we just wanted to get laid, but we needed a societal layer to put onto this to make it okay. And so we decided we would start pranking these girls by walking over and saying these funny lines. This this blue faced line, this little line from a rap song. And so, but here's the best part is, well, firstly, I was so much of a coward that back then that I couldn't do the walking over. So I told him, look, I'm too scared to walk over to the girl, but I'll film you. I'll film you if you do it. And then he goes, oh, for sure, dude. It's so easy. I'll do it. We drive over to the Target. I remember we get to the Target, take out the camera. I've got my camera. He's ready to do it. We walk in. We do about a lap. He didn't say a word to one single girl. He didn't walk over to one single girl. We just did a lap around Target, walked out, and said, yeah, maybe we'll try again next time. And of course, the excuses were, oh, there was nobody cute today. Oh, she was with her mother, this and that. So it's funny because I basically had exactly what we talk about. I basically experienced that, where guys say that they can do this. It's so easy to walk over to girls, but when it's time to put their action where their mouth is, they freeze up and they make all these excuses. And yeah, that was just funny to have happen only 6 months later, to actually learn the skill set properly from Kristian, and then to come back and apply it. And now he's seeing all these changes in my dating life. It's like, yeah, that really is a storybook ending. So
Yeah, I didn't
yeah,
know
thought
that story. I didn't know that story.
yeah, I don't think I told it to you in depth. I just told you I had this roommate that we didn't really get along that well. But yeah, I didn't tell you about, we were planning to go out and approach. We just didn't know it was called cold approach yet. And we thought if we framed it in like a pranky kind of a way, then it would be socially acceptable. But now that I look back on it, if we were going up saying these like absurd lines to girls, that would almost be 10 times more offensive than walking over and saying, hey, I'm scared, but you look beautiful. Like, that's way more honest and way more truthful than walking over with a funny line. And why did we want to use the line? It's not because we wanted to get YouTube famous. We were just bored and horny at home watching Pootie on YouTube, thinking, oh, well, maybe if we do this, we'll have content, but also we'll get a bunch of girls because some will actually be interested in us. And of course, what do you know? We couldn't approach a single girl.
Yeah, so when you went back, and it's like the hero's journey, innit? It's like Lord of the Rings. It's like, when fucking Frodo, is that the right one? Frodo, is he Lord of the Rings? Like when he goes back to the Shire, or like Luke Skywalker when he goes on his hero's journey. It's like the same thing, innit?
Yeah.
It's like you start off as that like bumbling mess, then you have to go through some shit, then you go back to the Shire, and it's like, oh, you're a completely different person. All the village people like, fucking hell, you've changed. And you're like, yeah, but you haven't. And that's the problem. It's like you outgrow those people. I think it's like a question amongst guys is it better to learn the skill in your home city, or do you think it's better to learn the skill in a different city and then return home a different person? Because I see advantages and disadvantages to both. I think if you were going to do it again, do you think you'd do it the same way, or do you think you would have preferred to have learned it in San Francisco? Because I know originally it was meant to be me coaching you in Vegas, then I got banned from America. So we were meant to be doing it on home soil, and then that created a different set of challenges where you had to go to the passport office and get a passport, and it was just a massive fiasco. But we made it work. Full credit to you for coming through on that. But yeah, I was just wondering, if you had your time again, do you think you'd still do it the same way, or do you think you'd prefer to have had a USA experience?
Oh, mate. Speaking of banned from America, you have to imagine. I'm telling my dad, yeah, I just met this guy from the UK. He's gonna teach me how to walk over to girls. Already, my dad's going, "What the fuck you talking about, son? Like, who's this guy?" I'm like, "I met him on YouTube." You met him on YouTube? Who the fuck? How much are you paying him? What? First question he asked me, he goes, "Efrem, did you sign a contract?" I go, "Yeah, I signed a fucking contract." He go, "Okay, at least there was a contract involved. You already paid this guy money?" Yeah, I already wired him over the first payment. Oh fuck, Efrem, did you look at his Better Business Bureau's credit score or whatever? And I'm like, Dad, shut the fuck up, man. But you imagine the first thing that happens, right? I'm asking my dad, look, can he stay with us? And we got this spot in Vegas. Can he crash in one of the bedrooms just so it's easier on him? He goes, fuck no, we're not letting this guy in our house. And then the very next thing, right, he asks about you. He goes, so son, you still doing that thing with that British guy in Vegas? And I go, oh, actually, he got banned from America. Dude, I cannot, like, I don't know how I made it to Poland without my dad just fucking literally holding me down. Yeah, holding me down and saying, no, son, you can't go. Because, I mean, he thought that this was just the most sketch, scenario possible. He's thinking, how the fuck did this guy get banned from America? I'm like, I don't know. He came in and he was telling the guys he knew me from lifeguarding, but that's not the case. And he's like, he's lying on your behalf now. This guy is gonna ruin your life, right? I do look back on it and man,
I remember
times.
being in that detention center, messaging you, being like,
Yeah.
if anybody asks, tell them that you're a lifeguard.
Mate, I was like, no one's gonna believe me, dude. This is not gonna work. There's no chance. As soon as they ask me to demonstrate, I'm gonna flounder. I'm literally gonna drown. Oh, that's too good.
Yeah.
Back to your question. So if I could do it over again, I would 100% do it in another city very far away from where I live. I'm very firm on that. And the reason is I've had it enough times in the district that I live in this neighborhood, that I've approached a girl and I've seen that same girl again. This has probably happened 30 to 50 times at this point. Because you imagine, I've done how many approaches in this city, in this concentrated 4-block radius where I'm walking or I'm skating around. I've met so many of my dates in this 4-block radius that I start running into the same people. So if I was doing the approaches that I was doing in Poland out here, where they were they're very scared and tepid. I was walking over and I was shaking. I was walking over and I could barely have conversation. Half the time I forgot to smile. When I did get in front of the girl and have conversation, sometimes I was too scared to get her phone number out of it. So I'd go, all right, this was fun, bye, and I'd run off. It's like there were too many, like in Poland, most of the girls out there were just training. Yeah, they were just practice. It was just I'm walking over to them to learn the skill set. I wasn't I wanted the date, don't get me wrong, but I was walking over just to learn how to get over my fear. Once I was back in San Francisco after having done that, excuse me, now it was just applying the skill that I had learned. And so I was already getting results immediately. So basically what I'm saying is I don't really want these girls to have experienced my bad approaches, because then I would have been known around. I see now, then I look back and I go, yeah, I could have seen a Reddit thread being made about me back then, being the very scared, awkward guy who's like barely walking over with half a heart and like going, oh, you look so beautiful. And even then I'm probably still exaggerating, but it would have been a lot more feasible back then when I was learning the skill than something like today, where 90% of women, when they stop and they talk to me, they walk away saying, thank you for stopping me. Oh, you also look good. Oh, I wish more guys did this. I wasn't getting those reactions in Poland. Yeah, like I was getting some good reactions, but like out here, I mean, almost every girl, unless it's a rainy day and I stopped her in a very awkward position, like most of the time she's thanking me. She's telling me I wish guys did this more, which is very reinforcing. So, yeah, I'm very firm on that, because I think that if you learn this skill in another city, it really allows you to get all of the bad approaches out of the way, so that by the time you're back in your home soil, you're taking off from there. So I am curious to hear your thoughts. That you said that you see positives and negatives of both.
Yeah, I think if you were going to learn the skill on home turf, then it can almost help, I think, to solidify the skill, and then it wasn't just a pipe dream. I think that it depends on if you're actually getting coached or if you're doing it on your own. I think if you're getting coached, if you're working with someone who's good, then they will give you the entire playbook to make sure you can replicate the results on home soil. Because I remember saying to you, listen, as soon as you get home, just get that first one done ASAP. It doesn't matter where you are. Maybe it's at the airport, maybe it's the barista, wherever. Just get it done as soon as you get off the aeroplane, because then that way you reinforce it and you show yourself you can do it again. But I think if you were to learn it in your home city and you've proved to yourself you can do it and you can do it well, I think it can flush out a lot of negative mindsets that maybe you had. So I think there's guys out there and they've convinced themselves it's not possible for them, and it's not possible for them in their city. So I think if they've got someone who can come and show them that it is possible and they can do it in their home city, then I think that allows them to hit the ground running. But I think it's an individual, like a case by case basis. You might have a guy who is adamant that it has to be in his home city, and then you might get another guy who's like, "No, I want to do it somewhere else." Or you might get a guy who doesn't have a fucking clue what he wants. In which case, you can just provide him whatever is the most effective. But no, I think you did it in the right way. I think if I was to choose, I like the idea of reinventing yourself in a new environment. It's like going away to university or college where no one knows you, and you can be the person that you've got in your mind. Whereas if you go to university where everybody knows you, it's a lot harder to reinvent yourself because then people will try and claw you back and be like, "Oh, that's not how you are. I remember you in year five. You're this person." So yeah, there's pros and cons, but I do think if I had to choose, I would take somebody, drop them in a completely new city, and then give them full license to just burn that city to the ground and then go back and replicate the results on home soil. I think that's the best way to do it. But again, everything works.
Yeah, exactly. You could definitely make either of those scenarios work, but yeah, and something you mentioned that I didn't bring up in my answer, and it was so golden, was that you get to reinvent yourself. That's the key. Is when I was out here, like if we had done the immersion for some reason in San Francisco, let's say, every single girl I'm walking over to, I would have been looking over my shoulder thinking, "Oh shit, is my coworker over here? Oh no, is my roommate somewhere nearby? Somebody that I know, one of my friends here?" And I would have just been a lot more hesitant simply because I'd have been worried that there were people that I knew that were seeing me. And that's back when I was getting the more blowouts because I was, I was less confident and I was walking over from the side a bit. And to be in Warsaw, Poland, I mean, how many thousand miles away from San Francisco? I just knew there's absolutely no chance that I would see anybody that I knew, and even if I did, it would kind of just be like, what the fuck are you doing here? Like why are you here? So yeah, that the reinventing part was huge for me. And this might even just be something we can segue into, which is like, what is a personality anyways? What is like when I think about who I was before working with you, Christian, and then I think about who I was after, it was just a month of difference and a lot of practice that went into that. But before that, my whole identity was this guy who goes months at a time without finding a girl, this guy who just kicks it with his roommate and only takes bong rips and doesn't do a thing outside of that and clocks into work and clocks out. And I'm just all sad and depressed and cold and lonely. Like that was my identity back then. Yeah. And all it took was a month of practicing something that was very uncomfortable. And all of a sudden, my identity was so different. So it's like, from the outsider perspective, they just see guy gets no girls. All of a sudden, guy gets girls. But they didn't live with me through those 30 days, yeah, and the weeks and years prior to those 30 days. So yeah, I don't know. It's like, what is a personality, anyways? What is an identity, anyways? We're talking about self remaking ourselves in another country, but yeah, in reality, all I did was I just aligned more with you. I just took the steps that you take, and then I was able to have this sick dating life. So I think I was really just boxing myself in before, thinking that because this is how I've always been, I have to own this quote identity of this guy who is frustrated romantically. And then I got this skill, and I didn't even have to own the identity of the guy that gets the dates. I just started getting dates. And so once the dates started coming in, I looked around and I go, "Oh, I guess this is normal now. Oh, I guess I can just get dates now." And slowly but surely I could start owning that identity. So it's almost like the identity creates itself. Like the identity is created by your life and your actions. And if you do not take those actions, or your life is trending in a certain direction, then you kind of like own that identity with it. Oh, I'm the guy that's unemployed now. Oh, I'm the guy that is sexually frustrated. And then all of a sudden you learn cold approach, and it's, oh, I'm the guy that has an abundant dating life. Yeah. Same person, same DNA. Yeah. You look at me, I look the same. I dress more or less the same. I sound the same beard length, different friends, different approach to life though. Yeah, that was the main difference.
Yeah, I think that's why it's important that you prioritize the behavior over the belief, because the belief does follow the action. And I think in regards to the identity, it's very much we are just simply repeated patterns of behavior that we've accepted over time as ourselves. It's you become what you practice, right? So before us working together, you had been practicing a way of being which didn't truly give you what you wanted. So then you spent a month with me in Warsaw, you prioritized the behavior over the belief. And then because you took so much action, you became the person that you were acting like. So, yeah, I think for people out there who might not believe that they can do it at the moment, it's like you just take the actions and you wait for the world to catch up. That's why the prioritization of the behavior is more important. I think just being wary of the language that you use on a daily basis as well. Like if you start labeling yourself as something that you don't want to be anymore, then that can become quite a negative cycle where you start labeling yourself as, oh, I have this, or I'm this type of person, or I'm not this type of person. Again, you are simply repeated patterns of behavior which you've accepted over time as yourself. So I think once you start to prioritize the behavior, the belief does follow. But that's why I like to give people 100 as a simple figure that they can hit. If you do that scary thing 100 times, it would be unreasonable for you not to shift your identity into somebody who can do these things. So yeah, it's the behavior over the belief.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we proved that to you proved that to me out in Poland for sure. Because I remember when recording that video, the belief was nowhere to be found. Yeah, I was pulling the belief out of Kristian. That's why it's so beneficial to have somebody teaching you this. Yeah, it's funny because I can only really speak from that perspective. Like, if you see my channel and you see my dating life, you have to remember that this was a byproduct of learning it, paying a coach to learn it. Right? I can't guarantee you my channel would have looked like this if I would have tried to self teach this stuff. In fact, I probably would still be in that learning phase right now. No kidding. It's only been a year and a half. I probably would have just done my 200th approach. Yeah, and I would have been trying to self correct, but I wouldn't have had anybody filming me. I wouldn't have had any audio to go off of. I wouldn't have had the actual coach who created the whole program teaching me how to do it firsthand. It's so invaluable. Like, it's not something that's replaceable. That's why I told Kristian you need to charge more, because I'm like, even though this isn't something that money could really reasonably, like, this isn't something you can reasonably trade money for, at least charge an absurd amount so that you can justify it. Yeah, it's like, yeah, you should be trading like infinity stones for this skill set or something. You should be trading some lightsabers or some shit, but we got is money over here. So that's why I thought you should be charging just so much more, because yeah, I guess I still can't verbalize it quite fully, but if we talk about health, wealth, and relationships, this skill pretty much tackles one third of those, one third of the buckets. This covers relationships. Yeah. So you still got to work on wealth and health. And, I would argue that this helps in both of those buckets. Certainly helps your mental health. And then as far as wealth, learning the skill set will help you advance in your career because of the skills you learn. But I won't go on a tangent there. Just if we just want to focus on relationships, this skill set resolves that whole entire bucket. Like, this skill pretty much takes that bucket out of the equation. Now it's just, let me focus on health and wealth, because the relationships are already taken care of. I already know that I have a skill set that can get me a girlfriend, etc. So yeah, I mean, but thankfully, yeah, even though I had no belief, and I walked down to that statue for the first time, just so scared, like you say, man, belief follows the action. And so I just started walking over, copying the identity of somebody that was not afraid and was confident enough in themselves. I was just copying that person. Yeah, that little anime archetype I had in my head of the sick warrior who just walks over to the hot girl whenever he wants to. I was just doing that, man, and eventually that became me. Eventually, all of a sudden, people started looking at me and going, "Wow, that's Efrem. That's the guy who walks over to the girls." Yeah, I do it in front of a few friends. I do it in front of a few cousins, and then all of a sudden they look and they go, "Wow, you're so good at this. Wow, you're so confident." It's like, dude, do you not know who I was 2 years ago? Do you not remember? Yeah, I guess they didn't see it. They didn't see me behind closed doors, because 2 years ago I was still trying to put on a persona of the guy that gets the girls. But 2 years ago, I was just crying into my pillow. Yeah, just sad at night, wishing that I can have a girl, thinking, what is wrong with me? Why am I spending hours a day swiping on these apps? This is the person who is sitting in front of you with this big YouTube channel, yeah, or a big 1,500 subs, big, right? But this is the guy who has created whatever is the person that was so dissatisfied, that was literally going to bed every night lonely and sad and cold. That was me. That was my identity. Not even 2 years ago. And it's like just to make that entire personality shift and outlook on life shift is just insane to me. So yeah, belief does follow action, boys.
And now that you're doing the filming, how's that treating you? Like, is that do you find that's helping take everything to a new level now that you can actually watch yourself back, and you're putting stuff out there so people can provide feedback on that? Like, how effective has that been in your overall development?
Yeah, that's kind of what I mean when I say I kind of just am getting unnecessarily good now because like you mentioned, the filming just it like it's one thing doing the skill, but then knowing in the back of your head you're being filmed while doing it, you're being filmed while walking over to the girl. You know, as soon as she turns around, she's gonna be staring at my cousin, going, "Wait, that guy looks just like you. You're telling me you're not together?" All these things that I'm predicting in my head are gonna happen. Yeah, it's like now I'm kind of getting unreasonably good because I'm looking back on the footage and I'm like, this is a lot better than I was even 2, 3 months ago. And I was already getting dates 2, 3 months ago. Yeah. So that's what I mean is like, you don't have to get as good as Christian, for example. Like that's for me, that's like the poster child. It's like, okay, if I can start making my conversation sound like his, oh my God, I'd be so good. But really that's only my metric because I have a YouTube channel where I'm trying to grow. Whereas, if I was just a guy looking to get laid, you don't need to get this good. You really don't. You just need to be able to walk over to 20, 30 girls and you'll probably find one that likes you. Yeah. But it's like first you need to do the first 100 so you can prove to yourself that you can walk over. Once you can walk over effectively and you just can sit in the conversation and just have very basic conversation, you don't have to have all of this you don't have to use these fun literary instruments that Christian uses from his English literature background. As great as they are, you can get laid without even knowing how to do all this wordplay and stuff. You just need to be bold. It's all about your balls. You just need to walk over. Even if you're somewhat socially awkward, you walk over to enough girls, you'll probably find somebody that you're more socially capable than anyways. And she'll be looking at you like, wow, this guy's a rock star. He walked over to me. So yeah, that's how I find filming now. Is it holds a spotlight up to me for sure. There's nowhere to hide. I post my bad conversations. I post the days that don't go well. I got a video up there where I said I got rejected by every girl, and so of course that sparked some controversy. Plenty of guys in the comments going, "See, this doesn't work. See, cold approach is stupid." And then the best part was like I had a date breakdown that sprung from that day or something along those lines, and it was just too funny. Yeah, I even showed some of their comments on the video. I go, look, this guy, and this guy told me that cold approach is stupid, but I got a date from this same day. Look, I hope these guys will watch it. Yeah, the story really does write itself. It's funny. Yeah, that's how I see the filming though. Is it's just making me better because I get to watch back and listen back, hear what I'm saying wrong. I'm still seeing plenty of gaps in where I can improve, and it's so funny that I can have this channel catalog of results and still be able to look and go, yeah, I can improve here. Yeah, I can get better here. So I think it'll always be a process.
Yeah, and yeah, you're definitely right in regards to like what it takes to actually get results. You definitely don't need to have poetic masterpiece conversations. I think all you really need to do is just get comfortable with the open. Like if you can just focus on that and get really good at opening, like walking over, speaking with conviction, just saying something and being comfortable in your own skin, you pretty much cracked it. The rest is, yeah, it looks nice on camera. I think you just get to a point with this skill where you just start competing against yourself. It's like, oh, how great can I make my conversations? I was just like, I got to a point like 2 years into the filming where I was like, I just want to make myself lol when I watch myself back. And like they just became a fun thing for me. But like I think that's the danger of consuming too much of somebody, where it's like you hold them up to a high standard and they become your benchmark for success. When really, if you can just do a tenth of what I do, you'll be fine. You don't need to get to 10 out of 10 to live the 10 out of 10 lifestyle. You just need to take what you see me do and then just sculpt it into what would work for you. But yeah, I think if you can just focus on the open, get those first 100 done, get comfortable being whoever the fuck you are, amplifying the characteristics that are authentic to you, even if you are socially awkward. There's something quite nice about that because you come across as real. It's like if you're trying to put on an act and be someone that you're actually not, that's when you diminish your own status, I guess. It's like you just need to find what works for you and then just take that to the moon. So, but yeah, I think for anybody, if you can just focus on the open and just get really good at that, and then after I don't know, a couple of weeks, you get comfortable going for the close and just getting more comfortable around people who you don't know, like you'll be fine. You know, you don't need to be some like high level conversationalist in order to actually feel fulfilled on this side of life. So yeah, I think that's important for people to understand.
Yeah, I won't name drop on the live stream, but there have been a few channels recently that are coming to light because of their lack of I guess honesty in their content. So there are a few guys that make somewhat related content to us, but more like red pill facing, as far as like, oh, ignore women, this and that. And so a few of these guys, they took it upon themselves to go and record infields. Yeah, our specialty. And so you watch these guys infields back, and it's just the most robotic. And I should preface this, excuse me. These guys are looks maxed. These guys are gym maxed. These guys are body maxed. Yeah, I mean literal bodybuilders. And they're walking over to girls, and they're the most robotic, boring, just and you watch them have conversation. They'll walk over to girls that are at kiosks that are working there that have no choice but to stand there and talk to them because they are literally on the clock. And they'll, even with the kiosk girl who's forced to talk to him, still manage to make the conversation very drab and very boring. And they're just going, "Oh yeah, where are you from? Miami? How long are you here? How long are you here in Miami for? Oh, no chance. Wow, okay. So what do you like to do for fun? Oh, okay, nice. I like to do that too. Oh, okay. Yeah, I like to work out. Oh, okay." And it's just and I'm looking at this guy and I'm going, man, this is the guy that these, most men in our generation are taking advice from. These guys, these gym max, body max guys, yeah. And then he'll like very meekly ask for her phone number without making it clear why he wants her number. Right? He's like, for all she knows, he could just want her makeup product. Like she's confused, and he's going, oh, so yeah, I'm in town for a few more days. Like, I'll take your number down, and she's like, oh yeah, sure. Just so he walks the fuck away. She's thinking, when is this guy gonna leave? And I just can't believe it, man. I'm looking at so. I guess the reason why I'm saying this is because yes, 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 you need to get 1/10 as good as Christian, for example. You don't need to get nearly as good, but okay, there's still a lot of things that you need to get good at to yield results, and it's not looks max, body max, gym max. Yeah, I mean, I think these guys are making themselves perfect example for us because I still look the same. I mean, I'm in the gym. Don't get me wrong, but I am not. I weighed myself most recently. I'm 140. I weigh 140. I mean, I think I've hooked up with girls that weigh more than 140. Yeah, I'm scrawny. I'm not even kidding. And I'm looking at Mr. 300-pound bodybuilder Jim Maxed. The guy is so intimidating. If I was standing next to this guy, he could literally fold me in half with just his biceps alone. Yet I'm watching him walk over to the same girl that I would walk over to, and I'm going, this is what you can come up with, man? All of these decades in the gym, and this is what it yielded for you, huh? Like all of these barbell curls, all of these leg presses and squats, deep squats that you've been doing to look sick as hell, to look like you can beat the shit out of me. And when you're actually next to me walking over to girls, this is what you can produce, my guy. It's like that's what I mean. They've been putting their skill points in the wrong places for decades. I'm not telling you to stop going to the gym, but if you think that spending 6 hours a day at the gym trying to max out every muscle is going to get the girl to initiate with you all of a sudden, then you're just so off the mark. And I just feel really bad for you for buying into this stuff. Because I'm watching these guys' content. These are guys with 500,000 subscribers on YouTube, probably pulling in, a year's salary every month from YouTube. And we look at now we pan over to their results, right? First we talk about their YouTube metrics, but then we pan over to their results, and it's like this guy he was fed the same pill that he is repeating. Oh, just look smacks and the girls will come. But you can watch that exact guy apply what he's talking about, and the results are nowhere to be found. Yeah, it's like I imagine that girl at the kiosk that he bothered for 5 minutes. I imagine she didn't come out on the date with him. Yeah, if I had to guess. So yeah, I mean you don't have to get very good at this skill, but no, there is a huge gap between where most guys are and where you do need to be. And I'm not trying to make this gap seem big to intimidate you. I'm just trying to make it seem realistic, because you're not going to just gym max your way into this kind of a skill set. Yeah, you need to put the put the barbell down for a second. Yeah, come out to the sidewalk with us and get over your mental fears. Yeah, it's like, I get it. You can put yourself under a lot of physical stress, but there are different areas. Yeah, there are different areas of life that you can start to improve on. So yeah, that's my 2 cents there.
Yeah, it gets you psychologically shredded, doesn't it? You know, just putting those putting those life reps in holds a mirror up to who you are, which is quite nice. So where can people find you then if they wanna see more?
Yeah, you can find me. I've got a YouTube channel called Pull University. This is where I document my dating life. Most recently, it's been my lack of a dating life. Yeah, I recently cut things off with a girl that I really liked, and so yeah, you get to see the hero's journey once again. I love living it. Yeah, you get to see me making the difficult decision to sail away from the comfortable oasis and sail into the treacherous sea, middle of winter. It's getting cold. It's getting dark. I love that. Yeah, I love that narrative. So that's where you could find me. I'm pretty damn active. So aside from that, you can get on the Entourage waitlist. I encourage you to do so. That waitlist is it's growing day over day, and we got guys that are chomping at the bit to get inside, and not all of you can. So yeah, get on the waitlist when you can, because it sounds like we're not accepting. You're not letting any guys in until 2025. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. Early
Yeah.
early 2025. We're not having any new people in, and then in March 2025, we've got a scheduled meetup in a Spanish secret city, which will be really
Hmm.
cool. Yeah, kicking off the year in style, just getting everybody together, linking up. I think in person retreats. It's nice to see people online. You know, it's nice to do group coaching calls and link up with everybody, but nothing beats like face to face where everybody is in the same city, everybody's in the same room. Like there's just a different energy there. Like it was amazing when we were in Warsaw, we were in Cyprus. Obviously, I do one to ones with all the guys, but there's something different when it's like a group setting and everybody is just getting together. So that's really exciting as well. But yeah, early 2025. That's when people can start joining. But yeah, you can reserve a spot on the wait list if you're even slightly interested.
Yeah, I would strongly recommend, if you're a guy that resonates with this content, and you're kind of just you're thinking but you're scared. I would recommend at least reserving a spot on the wait list, because I don't think you understand quite exactly what you're missing out on. We can only describe so much about the entourage, and usually we describe it in the context of cold approach. But these guys are getting me through my early to mid 20s right now, and I can't really explain it too accurately. But it's like, just this past week, 2 weeks, I wouldn't have been courageous enough to make these changes and to jump ship like I've been doing without the support of this network. Yeah, I mean, I texted Christian at like 12 a.m. Dude, I'm freaking out right now. I'm thinking about blocking this girl. I don't know. Should I do it? I'm so scared. Yeah. And he just helps walk me through it, man, rationally. I'm texting the guys, oh, yeah, I'm so sad right now, this and that. I need to get a new job. And they're telling me, look, I got a contact here. Oh, I got a tech guy here you could talk to. It's just, there's so much value in this group. And it's what's making me want to pick up my act. Yeah, I want to contribute just as much. Not just I don't just want to be the Mr. Cold approach. Yeah, I want to contribute on all fronts. So yeah, I'm super excited for what is to come. And join if you can. It's expensive, but if you can earn your way into the entourage, life is going to change for you.
Yeah, yeah, 100%, 100%. No, I think that's been really good. Thank you again for dedicating your time. I really appreciate it. I'll send people over your way, and yeah, we can do more of these in the future. And yeah, listen, I really hope that we cross paths properly in person in March 2025. I think it'd be really good for you as well, just to link up with the other guys. I know we've got Richie, Joseph, just loads of guys in there who I think would benefit from having in person meet up with you as well. I think it'd be really good because there's just all these different age groups as well. Do you know what I mean? Like you're in your 20s, we've got guys in their 40s, guys in their 50s. It just feels right, like in the tribal days when you just spent time with people like elders and people older than you, and like people teaching you like how to hunt and catch your food and cook your food and yeah, just like the rite of passage in it. So I think that's really cool. So yeah, big year 2025. I will send people over your way, and we will do another one of these in the not so distant future. All right.
Yeah, sounds good. I don't know if they celebrate Thanksgiving in the UK, but happy Thanksgiving, boys.
Was it Thanksgiving today?
No. This week though. I don't think I'll see you until afterwards. So you celebrate Thanksgiving though, yeah, in the UK?
Nah, nah.
American thing. Yeah, I think it
Yeah.
had something to do with like mass murdering the Native Americans or something like that.
No, we don't celebrate it. No, I think most people in the UK just think it's stupid. We just see it as
Yeah.
like, what's the point in having two Christmases? But I used to live with an American, and she celebrated it, so I celebrated it one year. There was something. There was a specific type of food that we had. What was it? What's pecan pie?
Turkey, right?
Pecan
Oh
pie.
yeah. That's
Yeah,
common. Yeah.
yeah, we had that. But apart from that, nah, we don't really celebrate it. But thanks anyway. I appreciate
Yeah, I
it.
was gonna say I retract it then and stay sexy.